thank you for joining us. Let me apologize for starting the live program late. These things happen. And it's the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout on TVC News Nigeria. My name is Ayodele Ozugbakun. Today on the program, the Senate concludes the screening of the last batch of President Muhammadu Buhari's ministerial nominees. Are you impressed with the screening? Let the hangout start now. The Senate has concluded the screening of ministerial nominees. With the screening over, Nigerians now have an idea of what to expect from President Buhari's cabinet. But how effective was the screening? Are these ministers capable of moving Nigeria out of its present economic situation? My colleagues and I will take a deep look at today's screening and assess the entire exercise. I'm not here alone. Boyega Akoshile is joining us after a long time.
Yeah, well, it's been long because we had to be in Abuja to screen the ministerial nominees. You know, there are distinguished senators and there are extinguished senators.
Still in this same Senate.
So
Welcome back, Boye.
He joined them in the comedy of errors.
I don't know about that.
Tony Waje is also in the house today.
Thank you, Ayo, and good evening, viewers.
And Babajide Kolade Otitoju is in the house.
Good evening, viewers. It's my pleasure as usual.
Boyega, let me start from you. What will be your assessment? You know, let me start from maybe 1999. You know how the situation when there's ministerial nominees and they go to the Senate, the El Rufai saga when it was about to be cleared, Mantus, Wingwina, you know, and to what the 8th Assembly have just concluded. They did the last set of nominees today. How would you assess the exercise?
Well, speaking very seriously, I think that what we've had in this present crop of senators is nothing but comedy. And
comedy?
Yeah, you know, nothing serious. In fact, I save and accept some ministerial nominees that I had personal interest in. I was not really bothered anymore about who was being nominated. I mean, who was being screened, because after about 2-3 screening exercises, I found out that it was just a bloody waste of time, of my time. And I believe that my time, you know, is too precious for me to be wasted on some characters that are not, that their seriousness is neither here nor there. I can paint some scenarios, but because we are, you know, because of time.
We'll soon get to that.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I was actually thinking with what Saraki said,
So
you know, when he
wanted to be impressed, Abi.
I thought something serious was going to happen.
Oh, that did not happen.
I was thoroughly disappointed with this exercise. There was no need in the first place. That was what I said to myself. And you have a situation where they invite some nominees, and the nominees became teachers, and the senators became students. And at the end of the whole exercise, there was no serious question to be asked. And some nominees of the APC, of course, all of them are of the APC stock. When you expect the PDP senators to bring them, to take them to, you know, to
task,
to cleaners, to ask them some very critical questions
about their pasts,
the past, the present, and for Nigerians to actually have a feel that we are beginning to have opposition.
but there
was nothing. In fact, the most interesting one was when Amechi came. I swear to you, I thought I was rushing to my office in order not to miss it. But I got there and I found out that it was nothing.
She was delivering the lecture.
Honestly, it was just delivering a lecture. At the end of the day, take a bow. Senator Saraki will say, okay, Mr. Mechi, Mr. Nominee, take the last question and then you take a bow and go.
Tony.
Disappointing.
Tony, does the inability of Mr. President to attach portfolio did it impact negatively on the level or the substance of questions, the quality of questions asked by these legislators?
Yeah, of course, we know.
Because again, another person that had a medical background was screened today, making like the fourth, fifth.
They were asking general questions.
Yes, like, so who is going to be the Minister of Health?
They ask general questions. It would have been possible, easy, just listing portfolios. This is the trend PDP exhibited for 16 years. You send ministerial list to the Senate without portfolio attack. I don't see any big deal about it. I mean, you mustn't play politics with every process of government. Just keep it there and let it they be specific in their questions.
So that the quality of questions.
Yes,
so that
like today, they were asking one. He said, for instance, I didn't get one guy, I think Amori, Senator Amori from Delta State, was asking the senator, was like, okay, for instance, you're a Minister of National Planning. And they said, no, and some senators they said, no, education, okay. For instance, you're a Minister of Education. He was confused, you know, and he looked stupid. You know, he had just had to defer to the Senate, all the senators and all that. And it doesn't all go well for easy screening. And for us, people want, because we're tired of asking, you see a medical doctor, for instance, and they're asking him philosophical questions, you're asking him questions about agriculture, about road transport. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see any reason why portfolios should not be attached to their names. It's as simple, because now the implication is this. Now, because now, we know they've confirmed about 18 senators before now to the president. And I was expecting that before now, maybe the president ought to have constituted a panel, a cabinet with those 18, so that Nigerian can make progress. But now the next, after the confirmation, at the end of today's screening, no confirmation was made.
Okay,
so the implication is that
Somna Sabo said it that our correspondent in Abuja said it that the confirmation will be done tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Did they mention tomorrow?
For why? They didn't even mention tomorrow. And
they didn't mention tomorrow. That I was told.
Okay, my correspondent, in Abuja,
the other paper
actually said it in our news
before
at
the other
4.
paper for today came out, it took time. So the journalists, supporters were confused at a point. So it shows that there's a lot of, even that tomorrow is not even clear, because it was not announced. So the issue is this: why was the confirmation not made today? Another round of politicking, and it's not the best. Not attaching portfolios to those ministerial appointments, it doesn't make sense. This is a government of change. Would have expected everything different about it.
It's like the same thing going on.
It's like taking us into the past.
Jude, what's your take on this?
Yes, Tony was absolutely spot on. There is a columnist that I enjoy reading. His name is Okendebe. Yes, he writes for The Sun. He was describing the reality of sameness. You know these intellectuals, the way they play on words. Sameness. Talking about the Muhammadu Buhari administration and the fact that sameness of the PDP era,
the previous ones,
is beginning to creep in. You are beginning to see the way things were done in the past being done now. We thought that in a remarkable break from the past, that President Buhari will attach portfolios to those names that is submitted to the Senate. But he didn't do that. Although people have said, oh, it is going to have a big cabinet. I said it here at the time when he said he was going to have 20 ministers. 20, I said Buhari cannot have 20 ministers, except he wants to go against the constitution. Many people said, no, this government will say they want to save money. I said, look, it's a constitutional thing. Every state must produce a minister. So we've been vindicated on that because he cannot go outside of the constitution. He's not a military ruler. Now, but the reality is there are certain things that he could have done differently. Attaching those portfolios will have helped us significantly. You bring someone like Zainab Ahmed of 90. The woman who made her name at 90. Now, this extractive.
Okay.
And you are asking her that if a committee was set up solely for the purpose of rescuing the Chibok girls, that what initiatives will she come up with to rescue the Chibok girls.
Military expert.
That's what Ochendo Global, the former governor of
Abia State.
That's what he asked that woman. And I was perplexed. This is someone with an accounting background. It's possible that
has
she will
been
be
auditing the oil industry.
Yes.
All her life has been on the
Auditing the oil industry.
Yes.
all her life has been on the extractive industry.
She has exposed a lot of rot in the oil and gas sector. Now, she could well be the next finance minister. Why don't you ask her questions related to that
area of
That's it.
Even when it was clear that, yes, the president made a mistake by not attaching portfolios. That's the way we see it.
And you're asking about
But you know her background.
something that has to do with military
You are not
tactics.
asking her about tactics to rescue
The military.
Chibok girls.
What is concern Agbero with overload now?
It's soldier.
Why ask this kind of funny questions? You see, the journalists in me revolted.
But every time.
When I saw the manner questions were being asked, you and I know that the former governor of Lagos State cannot stand before us as journalists and be lecturing us. The questions that we will pose to him, he will call off the session.
Job rigging.
He will call off the session, Ayo.
It has happened once in my presence.
No, we've done-
Former governor of Lagos.
We've seen this.
I don't know
with
whether
the
you
same-
were there.
With the same governor, with the same former governor of Lagos State, we've seen editors
turned him
stand
to-
up to him asking questions, and he got very angry.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, he got very angry.
I was there.
Because our job as journalists is not to ask you patronizing questions. We are
Make
supposed
me
to
shine.
ask you questions, you know.
That will put you
That will-
on the spot.
They do it to Obama all the time, and it's just because Obama is extremely brilliant. Somehow he finds a way to wriggle out.
Yeah.
I remember on one occasion, American journalists forced Obama to apologize. When he got angry and he said they were publishing lies, they told him, they said, Mr. President, you don't accuse us of publishing lies. You can say we publish inaccuracies. Exactly. At least that is dignity. Yes, you can say we publish inaccuracies. You can't call us liars. You know? So that is the thing. All sorts of funny questions on that floor of Bukola Saraki's House of Comedy.
Yeah.
That's
I think
that's
it's a
what we
very
saw.
good name that
When
you're
we
giving
call it screening,
It's a house of comedy.
when we call it screening, we are deceiving ourselves. What transpired was not screening.
It was comedy.
It's just for some people to go there and demonstrate their brilliance. The likes of Kayode Fayemi, they spoke like they were delivering this keynote address to people. And then somebody asked a
Inaugural
question.
lecture.
A question that naturally should rattle the nominee. And when the nominee makes a mistake, rather than follow up, they will not follow up. Instead,
Another person will ask an
good
off-course
Godswill
question.
Akpabio, Nigeria's #1 Father Christmas, will now go there and be saying that, look, why were you criticizing the PDP? Is it about the PDP or national interest? This is about Nigeria now. When you go to that place and the matter is the screening of those who will become ministers, it's not about PDP anymore. It's about Nigeria. But we turned this thing into a huge joke. We turned it into a farce.
Okay.
And how much longer are we going to continue behaving like this?
I'll
can
take
t-
you.
Okay.
Let me
Let me
take you to the Senate chamber and listen to Zainab Ahmed, and we'll come back and discuss on our session. Don't go away.
Illegal mining is one of the menace that as a country we have tried to address. But personally, I think as long as we keep having the mindset and the view that this activity is illegal, we will not succeed. The illegal mining is actually a way of livelihood for a large number of our populace. So if we look at it in that light, then what we will want to do is to start thinking about how do we make these miners practice better mining in the various areas where they are. How do we help them by giving them improved tools and implements so that the environment is not degraded, so that our water is not polluted, so that what they earn from this mining activities actually sustains their livelihood. If we take it from that angle, then we will be more inclined to bringing development to those areas where this illegal mining is concentrated. So rather than having the miners migrating from point to point, following wherever there is a find, they will stay in those areas, they will work more responsibly, and they will want to protect their environment.
Zainab Ahmed talking about places illegal mining, taking place across the country.
That's absolute rubbish to allow people to be mining illegally. Oh, if you do that in South Africa, I'm sure every Tom, Dick, and Harry will have become a millionaire by now.
Yeah, gold.
Because Johannesburg, for example, is sitting on diamond.
Yeah.
So you legalize mining. For everyone to just look, these things belong to the government.
Exclusive.
By the time you start that, Ayo, those boys in the Niger Delta, if, for example, you say, okay, we will legalize the mining of gold, if we identify somewhere in Elisha that, okay, this whole area is full of gold, as a country, you now said, okay, you are legalizing the mining of gold in that area. You know the implication it will have. For me, I would prefer that, look, that Nigeria is blessed in gold more than we are blessed even in oil, because the price of gold is stable. So the volatility that we suffer with the oil sector,
drop.
yes, we really don't suffer that. In such volatility,
the gold market.
Yes, in the gold market. So now you can't legalize. If you do that, you have only started something really bad, because those Niger Delta militants, some of whom have already set up illegal refineries, will now feel justified that, okay, some people are mining gypsum in Sokoto. Illegally, they are mining gypsum. You've not done anything about it. Gypsum is is one of the raw materials for production of cement. You know. Now, if you say, okay, people are mining gypsum in Sokoto, you are not doing anything about it. Why do you want to disturb us when we are illegally processing crude oil in our own area? So when you start this kind of thing, you really will not know where to stop. That is it. That's why this kind of comments shouldn't even have emanated from Zainab. Because this is a woman, she's done a lot for our country, you know. So I didn't expect that she would go to this extent. Maybe she was rattled. And a lot of them too made all kinds of mistakes on that floor.
Stage frights.
So if they were making mistakes about, in front of senators who don't even know how to ask questions, what would they do if they were gathered in a hall full of
brilliant journalists?
What would they do? That means they would even pray that the ground should open.
And that's why they will come back and say that I was quoted out of context. It's very common.
That's the thing. Because when you say that, oh, look, I don't sign checks. If you say that to a journalist, you can expect a follow-up question.
Immediately.
He will tell you right there that no governor signs checks. You are not the only one who doesn't sign checks.
How can you tell me that you don't sign checks?
But they are going to remind you that even it is not only by signing checks that corruption can be permitted. And if you permit corruption to happen, then you are liable. Look, that is the thing.
Any submission that is above 9.9 million naira, the state governor must personally vet it. That is it. In Lagos State, in every state, you must, Ambode must see it and question. Once it hits 10 million naira, Ambode must personally look into it. So as a state governor, Mr. Tunde Fashola will tell me 78 million naira website that you did not. You can't tell me that. You cannot. I build websites regularly. So you can't tell me.
You've not built the one of
Is it Silicon Valley? No, is it Silicon Valley that they will build the website?
Maybe the website has factory fitted.
So, but we are standing in front of senators who don't even know what components they call websites.
Boyega, you know.
I'm so disappointed.
Boyega, you know the reason. You stand before a Bukola Saraki with 9 cases of corruption against his name before the EFCC alone, with another one standing against his name in the, with
Code of conduct.
his special fraud unit,
SFU.
with another corruption case at the Code of Conduct Bureau. He wants to be the referee in this macabre dance of shame. There's just no way that he will be able to grill people. A lot of those senators you see sitting there, they have cases
One case or the other.
before the EFCC. So they are the people that you want to see them fire dangerous questions at these people. If I stand before you as a former governor and I even made a mistake, because you are a moral midget yourself, you are a moral Lilliputian, you will not be able to question me the way the way a journalist who feels clean.
Tony, what did you see the level of, you know, how these people, how they are engaging them, and without follow-up question? Nobody can stand up that, Mr. Nominee, I asked you a question, and subsequently I'm not satisfied that you've not given me a satisfactory answer, and you take him up on another thing in that area.
Today, for instance, they just cleared the last section.
The last one.
So what are we talking about? Well, I mean, you can't start here and sit down here. It's done.
And we are doing a critique of the exercise.
This is this.
When you ask such questions, you
as Jide said,
journalist.
as Jide said, they were, I don't know, it's like the senators were overwhelmed. They were not asking intelligent questions. I watched today's episode, for instance. I watched the guy that came from, is it from Abia State? The first person they ushered in today. Okay. The guy was so eloquent, intellectually, you know.
All of them are.
Dropping it, you know, the way they ask him. And I saw the senators like, wow. You know,
Already
they were bamboozled.
Okay, that medical doctor turned to
It was
fantastic guy.
It was, yeah. What I would have expected, you know, they were asking, you know, they were carried away. That's the truth. They were carried away. I don't think present Senate, you know, let me just go back. Dino Melai, before the screen started, it's not going to be business as usual. And he had the, you know,
gallivanting about
something different from the past. He gave us, he built so much hope.
According to
Did you have a character? Did you have this character of taking Dino Melai seriously?
No, he said, he just,
I'm asking you. You have a reputation.
No, not Dino himself.
No, the Senate. He spoke for the Senate. If you remember.
I remember that.
And he said,
gentlemen,
You can't separate the individual from his message.
Yes, gentlemen, Jide, and there's one very funny thing I noticed. It's a trend. Since this screening has started, some people will just be around, they'll just talk, they'll just be talking sideways, and they will not be involved in what is happening. Completely detached, laughing, giggling, and meanwhile, somebody will stand in front of you to talk, and you know the camera will come to you, and you will still continue giggling.
Let me give you an example.
Very interesting.
Yesterday, Senator Ben Bruce was speaking, was behind the senator was asking a question, and Senator Ben Bruce was behind that lady, and he was talking to the other senator, and I was sitting like this.
Man.
He was talking, he was carried away, they were passing notes.
No, the guy was actually.
So if I was watching, but at that point, I got unserious about it.
No,
because it shows that those people, for instance, if you're in a lecture theater, for instance,
the attention level drops,
and the lecturer is not teaching, that's when you see students, they get tired. It shows, it tells you.
Even it should tell you the apparent lack of seriousness of the senators.
I got tired, and when I saw that, I was like, "Oh,
and
so this is I wasn't watching.
If you watch the beginning of the proceeding, by the time it's 2-3 hours, let them come to a cutaway shot. You see that the house is almost empty.
Sorry. Today, for instance, at a point, Saraki himself was tired, and I was wondering,
the attention level dropped
for just 4 hours. Because they started 12 now, around 12, 4. They rounded up.
I don't know whether this is
4 hours.
Totally.
What are they doing? I mean,
109 senators to screen.
Today, I don't know whether it is true.
Stand up.
Screen
Sorry.
36
At 2 o'clock,
Ndume will stand up. Say
to
permission to
beg
change
the senators that please want to extend
to change the standing order.
You know how much this will end? You will beg them first. 4 hours is too big for the senators to do national duty. What do I pay to sit there for?
Tony, you are getting angry. Calm down. Now, did you watch the House of Reps committee screening of Mrs. Clinton on Benghazi?
Yeah, exactly.
You know how many hours it lasted?
Quality.
Did you see the seriousness? I'm a Nigerian. I'm not an American. Maybe the journalist in me. I sat down for about 4 hours.
The quality of the question.
I sat down for about 4 hours to watch
Go to the TV.
the session.
It's
It's not something about
One
my
person, okay.
one
One
person.
And
One
the answer,
person.
and the answer Mrs. Clinton was given. If you say, oh
You
no,
with
no,
records, our PAs, our lawyers, everybody, when she's not clear about something, they'll bring her some.
She's a lawyer herself.
You understand? Some materials, and she'll look. These
All right.
guys.
Let's
You need to
step
talk
up.
to them.
There's a lot to learn.
Let's take it forward. Okechukwu Eyina Enelema. Let's go to Okechukwu. Yeah, nice guy.
I think the challenges we are facing, one has to put it in context. We live at a time when oil prices have dropped in half. We live at a time when a lot of the growth that the world was seeing was coming from China, and China itself has slowed down. We live at a time when, with some of the recovery that we're seeing in the United States, a lot of the so-called emerging economies, of which I will include Nigeria, meaning more developing countries, are seeing funds being taken away from them, or taken back from them, and flowing back to the West in some respects, and creating further turbulence in those economies. And I think all these things create pressures on our own economy. And some of the things we're seeing, at least this year, including the slowed growth. I mean, Nigeria for the last 10 years grew at about 7% on average, although there wasn't much employment, and I'll come to the employment issue. And recently, in the last year, it's been growing at roughly 3% this year, 2015. So these are challenging times that we live in. And the first thing I would say is that, like, to solve this kind of problem, we need a shared vision for this country, and I might add for this government, of what are those things we will do. Because the thing about an economy is a system. If you pull one lever, it affects all the other levers. You know, so we have to think in terms of what are the monetary policies that will support the economy to grow. You know, whether in terms of interest rates, our view on inflation, and of course our view on foreign exchange rates. Then we'll think about fiscal policies in terms of what do we want to emphasize. In my view, I think it is appropriate to emphasize those areas that create what I called earlier inclusive growth. All growths are not equal. There is growth and then there is growth. In fact, in the private sector, we talk about quality of earnings. You know, not all earnings are the same. And the same thing about growth. My sense is that the kind of growth you need, the growth that takes place, some people at times talk about the real sector, industrial sector, things like agriculture, manufacturing, making sure that those sectors that create jobs as they're growing and as the businesses are expanding, you know, get more incentives and more support and more of an enabling environment, you know, to grow. And part of it is having an abundance mentality. My view is that, like, the potential of this country is enormous. You know, but to realize that potential, we would need to make sure that the things people need to do their work, whether it's in terms of what economists will call factors of production, in terms of capital, in terms of labor, and in terms of all the other things that they need that will help them, that will provide it. I believe that, like, the key for any government, including this new government, is to work cohesively and not work in silos. Because in the past, what has happened is that at times you have people doing different things, but these are discordant notes. They're not playing together and are not producing what you might call a compound result, which is what you want, a multiplier effect.
Okechukwu Enelema, a medical doctor turned financial expert.
Yeah.
What, for those of us that we've gone through the tertiary institution, we know what it takes to be a medical doctor, and now leave that. I now go for your MBA, and you are now running a financial, becoming a chartered accountant and a financial guru. We know, two different. This bigger.
The guy's CV is very intimidating. You know, so like many, like Julian was saying earlier,
Almost all of the nominees have very impressive CVs.
I think there's going to be a problem fixing these people.
I don't think so.
they
No.
do
MB knows where he's putting each person.
But you see,
He
my
does.
only fear is
He
that
knows
Don't
where he's.
end up putting.
yes, that some people
You know,
will actually get ministries where they can't function well.
Well,
That's
but
what
I
think will happen
think
because now the list is so heavy,
Very heavy.
on lawyers. for example.
Yes.
So many lawyers.
Yes.
Lawyers in
Yes,
this,
so many
yeah,
lawyers.
I didn't
Now,
even take
the,
note of
the
that.
reality.
So many
yes, and
medical
doctors
medical
as well.
doctors.
Even that guy
as well.
from Edo State, a neurosurgeon,
And the guys who is very brilliant.
and
Yes.
the former VC of
The
University
VC
of
is a
Ibadan.
gynecologist.
Yes.
Gynecology and obstetrics, yeah.
And he was
You know?
talking about education sector, and at the same time he was talking
Was talking
about,
about medical-
medical.
Yeah.
Well,
know?
I just pray that the president, will take his time, especially when he gets out of Nigeria. But I think like this,
By now they should know.
like
by now,
think like those who are close to
You
him,
know where to
Next
put
those
them
you
now.
know that
if
I know.
this confirmation is done tomorrow, I
next
expect
week,
by
by
Wednesday,
Monday,
they should be
we-
sworn in,
No, no, no,
and the
let's-
first
let's-
EXCO
let's
meeting
not
should happen.
let's not be too ambitious.
We should be.
By Monday,
It's always
After
very
how many
let's
ambitious.
months? After how many months?
After 7
should
months.
be
no, I'm talking about this.
We're done
this-
today now.
Today is
Oh, we're
Wednesday
done
now.
today.
Yeah.
But by
Done
Wednesday
today.
we should have.
By Wednesday we should have the first EXCO meeting,
By Wednesday we
swearing
should
in
have
and everything.
first
So,
Yes.
I don't think there's anything that will delay, the president. He doesn't have
Because
any,
the thing is,
doesn't have any
now
choice.
the Nigerian economy is not doing well currently.
at all, because a lot of
The
people are
eyes
complaining.
of the world are on Nigeria because they think that the following, in 2016, we may just slip into recession.
Yes.
Brazil is already in recession.
China.
South Africa is being watched. So there are fears about Nigeria.
And China is coming down fast.
If you look at the latest statistics
yeah.
from the Bureau of Statistics, it shows that inflation is rising in Nigeria, which is bad news. So the government needs to get down quickly to business. Especially
Economic policy,
the economic
direction
policy.
of
They
the
keep saying,
direction.
the international community keeps saying that they do not know the direction in which we are headed.
and that's why a whole lot of business.
We have our
people
first caller today.
Are holding on to their money. They're not coming.
Obaba from Benue. Obaba from Benue State.
Obi Ogaba.
Good evening, Ayo, and my regards to Babajide and Tony and Boyega.
Ogaba, you remind me.
I want to really appreciate
Ogaba.
I want to urge you to keep it up.
You remind me of a former under-17 player of Nigeria.
Peter Ogaba.
Peter Ogaba.
My brother.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ogaba.
Okay, I want to say that we should look at it this way. The president is looking at a cabinet. A cabinet is different. When you look at what is happening from the angle of a cabinet, you understand that it's not necessary for you to attack portfolios, because when you look at what happens in the Federal Executive Council meeting, you expect input from whatever issues that is dropped at the meeting. You expect contributions from all your ministers.
Okay.
And so, what is happening now, the versatility of each of the nominees is very, very important, because we are looking at change. The change we are looking at is to be able to push ourselves, the entire country, from our comfort zone. We have been too comfortable with so many things. So where can we push ourselves to now? Like Boyega was saying, there's so many things. There's so many values that we can bring into this change. And so let's look at how we can push ourselves from our comfort zones. Every one of us, we need to move. If the senators have disappointed us, we still can do it. Let's believe in
Thank you so much, Ogaba.
the journalists and the entire populace. We can push ourselves from our comfort zone. And
Thank you, Ogaba. Thank you for the challenge. Thank you. Thank you for that challenge, Ogaba, calling from Benue State. And let's quickly move on. They take you to Dan Ali.
No.
In my right of, honestly, I will even read it from here. I said, and to contribute on how to end topical issue of Boko Haram by December, I wish to categorically state that is just a timeline. In the military, you don't fix. Normally, we'll give a timeline and say from so thing will happen, so thing will happen. Along the line, you can able to achieve your aim. Timeline is like progressive action of military. But the moment you fix it, I'm not saying it's very correct. You can say, okay, my target to get everybody wiped out by December. It's possible. If you look at what is happening now, the Boko Haram initially were hosting flags. Hosting flag means you have captured or you have already owned that place. Now, we have removed the flags, we have pushed them out of the flag, they are out of the border. We have achieved a tremendous effort. What remains is just to get the indices. These indices that I wish to give you here are four. We have the political, we have the economical, and we have the security, then information sharing. On the political aspect, you have to make the people be aware. Give them like a propaganda that this action that is going on is no good. Let us understand that whatever you are doing is not, and that is the political angle. The political angle also can include how you want employ or reconciliation, where people will go back to their places, where people will get what to eat, where people will go back to their houses. The other angle that I said would have taken to is the security angle. The security angle is you must secure those that are back to their position. Because if not, there is every tendency that the people can go back and recruit them again.
Dan Ali, nominee Dan Ali. Jide, you were saying something?
Yes. Brigadier General Dan Ali just repeated what I've said here a number of times, that in the theater of war, even when we capture a territory, we don't have enough soldiers to hold the territories down. Look,
vulnerable.
The Nigerian Army said repeatedly that, look, we have recaptured some territories. Those territories that they are talking about, I remember that those territories were earlier captured by Chadian soldiers. Chadian soldiers captured Gamborungala and captured Banki. Banki is a border town with Cameroon. But what do we have? Because they are an offensive force, not a defensive force. So they are constantly on the move.
Okay.
So they won't remain there permanently.
Yes, yes.
No, I'm talking about Chadian soldiers.
Okay.
Chadian soldiers. They are an offensive force. They are not a defensive force. They will not even enjoy staying in one place just to keep the territory. So the problem we have is territories earlier taken. These guys flushed out of those territories.
They'll come back.
They come back. It happened. There is a town called Uba.
Askira Uba.
No, Uba.
Okay.
Uba is in Borno State, very close to Adama, you know. So we even went to Uba. Kolomi Dala, our correspondent, went to Uba to do a story about how women were beginning to pick the pieces of their lives, you know, selling mangoes and all that. And 2 weeks after he filed that story, Boko Haram went back to Uba to start killing people again. And this was a community that was liberated from Boko Haram. So that is the point that he made. And he also said something on that floor, because he's a bright man. He said, look, Nigerian soldiers are among the best in the world. I've always said this. We have one of the best infantries in the world. We have a very good army. But you need to motivate these people to give you their best. So, and he also said that if they are well looked after, that the Nigerian Army is one of the best in the world. He also said that he mentioned 3 qualities that a good commander, a good war commander must have. You must have transparency, you must have integrity, you must have honesty. So that was a very good outing from Brigadier General Dan Ali.
Another ministry, we don't know where it's going to be processed. Because we have Dambazao. We have Dambazao from Kano. We have Dan Ali again.
Maybe it will be Minister of State or Defense, because there will be Minister of State.
All right. Let me take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. You're still watching Journalists Hangout. Don't go away. Welcome back. This is Journalist Hangout, and we're looking at the ministerial screening at the Senate. As thorough as the process was, some senators asked certain questions that were totally irrelevant to the exercise. You don't believe. Watch this.
You had 2 first degrees, a BA in political science, 1977, a BA in law, Cambridge. Then he came back, a master's degree in law, and then another master's degree in law. Is the first master's degree in law not sufficient enough to do all your works?
You can take as many as you want. What is your own? You can take as
Thank you very much.
All the 3 elections you had, nobody ever took you to the tribunal. How will you react if you are asked to just vow and go?
Question number 2. And question number 2 related to question number 1. Are you still going to contest in 2019?
What advice do you have for upcoming politicians?
Are you a card-carrying member of any political party? And if you are, which of them do you hold? Thank you very much.
Very interesting questions. And I know Boyega, you can't wait to continue.
Don't ask Boyega a question. Leave Boyega out of this.
Let's go. Okay, allow Boyega to explain.
No, he will beat us.
Okay, Tony, your reaction to you can see the questions.
Until he calms down, don't go to him.
No. The truth is this: we're expecting much from the Senate. You know, it's like you expect much from someone, and
okay, look at that question. Look at the question of Mrs. Senator Mrs. Olujimi from Ekiti State.
See,
that
are you a card
member of a political
Tony, what has that got to do
the
with the subject?
The issue is this. We expect some.
Oh.
You hear my point? We expect so much from these people, but the fact is that how do those people see us? Do they respect themselves before us? They don't. We revere them, but they don't revere themselves before us. So why are we so shocked that they're asking such questions? What do we expect in the first instance? We know. Look at the composition of the Senate, and look at the hullabaloo going on in the Senate between May and now. You know what's going on. So what do we expect? Okay, if they've asked intelligent questions, would you be surprised? You know, if you ask questions that is contrary to what we're saying, I'm not so shocked because I was not highly.
Okay, so let's quickly take Olawale. Olawale is calling from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you for hanging out with us, Wale.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, Wale.
Yes, once again, I congratulate you for incisive analysis.
Thank you.
One, we were expecting much from the senators. Most of them have become moribund in their professions. So, what do you expect them to
What kind of word is that?
Then 2, for instance, whoever will be made the health minister will have a whole lot of problems. I retired as a director at the Federal Ministry of Health. If you see the configuration of all the hospitals, it's a configuration of all professionals. Honestly. And all of them are loggerheads with each other. So
it was raised yesterday.
My problem with the president is that we have 11 lawyers, 4 distinguished medical practitioners. So I don't know how it. The mere fact that you are successful in your profession does not mean you will be successful as a manager of human and material resources in the ministry they have put you. God bless you.
Honestly,
we noticed earlier that he said 12 lawyers and
even Dambazao.
And Dambazao, the military.
He's a lawyer.
He's also a lawyer.
He was the registrar of NDA. He's a lawyer too.
Oh yeah,
well, I think what Mr. Olawale said is a very serious, and it didn't just happen now. If you remember some time ago, I don't know whether you reported the story. Some time ago, there was this, crisis among medical practitioners, medical and health practitioners. The pharmacists were saying that the medical doctors, should not be above them, and
the nurses.
The nurses were saying that they equally provide. So I like he said, I would agree with him that whoever the Minister of Health should be
able to unite
all the bodies. To unite all this, harness all the resources, available to him, and ensure that we fight a common fight, which is let us take Nigeria's health sector to compete favorably with the global.
They are always going on strike. He has to find a way to end the constant strike.
Apart from strike, I saw
a major challenge in that
sector.
Always on strike.
Post on Facebook yesterday, and I almost wept. My own town in Oro, Kwara State, the general hospital there is like a Babalawo's house, a herbalist's place. Somebody went there.
Did you see our story last night about Imo State?
Imo State,
all the general hospitals in Imo State have been shut.
Go there.
All the general hospitals.
No, the hospital in my own hometown is moribund. Yeah. It's pathetic.
With all the billionaires from
from there. And these people will come on television. I don't know about that. Let me tell you. So they will come on TV to come and
From my last caller from Zaria.
Hello?
Yes, thank you for hanging out with us.
I called to say hello and I appreciate what you have been doing.
Oh, Gasu from Zaria.
Thank you, Gasu.
Kaduna.
Yes. Tvcontinental, you are doing more than what most of what do you call it, senators, so-called senators are doing.
But they earn a lot of money. I don't wish to earn that kind of money.
They earn more than
some of the so-called senators are doing. Telling us everything.
Thank you, Gasu.
Hello,
Gasu, you're on. Oh, Gasu from Zaria and Kaduna.
Kaduna says you are doing a lot, but you don't have the kind of money that these people are.
So, reaching home stretch on this now, when you see, we can now see how the color of the cabinet of President Muhammadu Buhari, quite sophisticated, quite
highly educated guys.
Highly educated lot. For those people that have been saying that they are recycling people or anything, you know better now. Because I've not seen any of these names.
I've never seen them.
I don't even know them. These are, when apart from former governors.
You know what is called. You know what is called embarrassment of riches in sports. When you have maybe in your right wing, you have like 5 very good players who can play that position. So it's the coach will be in a valley of decision as to whom do I play in this position.
Like Man City at the point in time.
Yes, so President Buhari will have that problem now.
I want to ask you who gets what.
If we are to talk about that, we'll use a whole program. But I've said it here that Fashola, for example, our former governor in Lagos State, his strength is in infrastructure development. When people were saying that they will make him chief of staff, I remember I told you, I said he will never be chief of staff. I said that a long time ago. He's been made a minister now, so they must find him a ministry where his talents can be exposed.
Power.
Yes. In Lagos, he did well with the energy sector, at least Lagos has IPP. Now, it's either you give him power, where we need to work hard, or you give him works so that he can fix our roads, he can do roads the way he did roads in Lagos. Look at Wemco Road, for example. I looked at that Wemco Road because my former office used to be around Wemco. I looked at it, I said, look, when I'm going home at night, I drive through, I pray for him.
Ogba.
I pray for
Excellence
him
Hotel.
when I'm going home.
World-class road.
Every night when I'm going home. It's world-class, what he has done there. Yes, it's world-class. And it took a long time to do that road.
Yes, because they had pipelines on that
So those
road.
things, and then you go to Ikorodu Road and see Ikorodu here and see the fantastic work that he has done. He has done well. He has been a very good servant of Lagos State. The federal government must exploit his talent and put him in the appropriate ministry.
That's what we
That's
expect.
how they can get the best
we are setting
from him.
agenda here. Tony, set your own agenda.
Yes, as you said, I'm Fashola, for instance. I would have taken it away from even if it didn't.
Take another nominee.
No,
I take another nominee out of 36.
Okay, let me just finish one.
Okay.
Because we didn't finish it. For instance, the Babbage, for instance.
Yes.
Babbage
was
3
like
weeks
a
ago.
disaster.
This is 3 months ago. I passed there. Ahmadu Bello Way is the road I dread passing because it stretches all the way to Bonicam because of the traffic. So that day I crossed that place. I don't know. I just had to.
That's a cool
and I saw what they did at the Babbage. I grew up. I was born here in Lagos and I grew up here.
There's nothing like
and I
Babbage
used to go to Babbage. If you get to
You don't
Babbage,
have
I won't see Babbage again.
Yes, that's
And
a
I was
cool
wondering,
Atlantic
this is the
City.
same Babbage that the Obasanjo spent so much money every day. Stories. They said IMB building, and they built the glass house. You know, stories. And you spent so much. But the guy came. If you get there, you'll be
Tony,
amazed.
you said the same thing with Gideon.
Yes.
You are still on Fashola.
Yeah,
and our time is gone.
Well, my agenda is going to be like all of them will do well. Not Fashola, not all of them are very fantastic guys. They have their strength. Without Lai Mohammed, there wouldn't have been APC in the first place. We cannot take that away from him. So, and you see, whether you want propaganda or you want public relations or you want persuasive, the guy. So I would expect, Mr. Buhari to place him where his strength is.
Yes.
So it's a blend. It's a blend of these. This one is good here. This one is good there. That one is good there. So no one person is good. At the end of the day, it's not Fashola. It's not this. It's not that. All of them are good.
And not also forgetting that Senator Chris Igige is a
exactly.
medical doctor.
Yeah.
Fantastic
administrator.
I expect the best from him too.
Fantastic administrator anytime, any day. When he was governor, the people of Anambra, he did so well. So,
all right,
all of
we've
them,
overstretched
all
our
of
time.
them.
Yes, gentlemen, thank you so much, Tony, Igboyega, and Jide. And that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for a fresh episode. Watch the repeat broadcast of this program today at 11 p.m. and on TVC Entertainment 5 in the morning. I'm Ayodele.